Christian, next CYInterview covering Las Vegas and the world. If you have not already, please subscribe to our channel to keep up with everything we do here in Las Vegas and beyond. Celebrity CYInterview conversations, inspiring conversations. It's all here on the CYInterview YouTube channel. Please subscribe and like this video. Today we're going to be talking about, can you believe it's June 3rd, that we're only a couple months away from the beginning of football season again, very close to preseason and then regular season action. So today, being here in Las Vegas in the entertainment capital of the world, CYInterview is going to break down its thoughts on the 2024 Las Vegas Raiders regular season schedule. I just want to emphasize and start with one thing. One of the positives for the Raiders in 2024 is that they are going to be playing the weakest division, I believe, in the NFC, which is the NFC South, which is comprised of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the New Orleans Saints, the Carolina Panthers, of course, and the Atlanta Falcons. So they get to play arguably the easiest four teams in the NFC. And if you're looking for a Raiders home victory and a victory in general, this year it probably is going to be week 3 at home at Allegiant Stadium against the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers, of course, only won 2 games last year. I don't think anyone is expecting them to make an absolutely unbelievable jump from last year as they struggled under the direction of Bryce Young at quarterback. So week 3 against the Carolina Panthers, if you're a Raiders fan, if you're not in Las Vegas, if you are in Las Vegas, if you want to go to a home game where the Raiders are probably going to win, it would be week 3 against the Carolina Panthers. Now, the struggles, I think, for the Raiders on this year's schedule is there's just a lot of playoff teams. You've got Tampa Bay, of course. Additionally, you've got Pittsburgh, you've got Cleveland that are outside of the AFC West. Of course, we don't have to mention the Super Bowl defending champion Kansas City Chiefs, which they're going to have to play twice. And of course, also week 2, they go to play at the Baltimore Ravens. But let's take it back to week 1. I mean, right out of the gate, the Raiders are going to be going to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. They're going to have to play, Justin Herbert, and of course Jim Harbaugh. That's going to be his debut. He's going to be motivated for that. The Raiders are going to be playing the Chargers, who have a new head coach who's got a whole different mindset. And Harbaugh is a guy who wants to win football games. So you can see that they're going to be probably blazing out of the gates. That's going to be a challenging week 1. Then you have to go to Baltimore. Baltimore, of course, obviously, a playoff team last year. It could have been in the Super Bowl last year had they not lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Not an easy game there. Carolina week 3, looking at Carolina week 3, again, probably the easiest game. But then you got week 4, you got to play the Cleveland Browns, who, of course, went to the playoffs last year after Joe Flacco led them in an unbelievable run to the playoffs. They lost in the first round to the Houston Texans, but the Browns have a good defense, and they're good enough to give anybody a game, so that's going to be challenging. Week 5, you go on the road, division road game, playing the Denver Broncos. Not going to be an easy game just because it's a division road game. Those are never easy. And then you move to week 6, Pittsburgh. You're going to be playing Pittsburgh, but now Pittsburgh's got a better quarterback. Obviously one of the big things last year, even though Pittsburgh was a playoff team, is they were struggling at the quarterback position. Enter Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has a 1-year contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So a challenging game, week 6 at home. Then you got to go week 7 on the road against the Los Angeles Rams. Rams, in the NFC West, a very challenging division. Road games are road games. Week 8, you're at home against the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions. I don't think we have to explain much about that. Patrick Mahomes back in company. Challenging game, AFC West rival. Week 9, you're going to play the Bengals. As you know, Joe Burrow, of course, got injured during the season last year. He's going to be back motivated, trying to get the Bengals back to the playoffs. Of course, the Cincinnati Bengals were the one team from their division that did not make the playoffs last year. Of course, the Steelers, the Browns, and the Ravens did make the playoffs last year. So there's going to be a lot of motivation there. Not an easy environment going to Cincinnati week 9. Week 10, there's a bye. And then after that, you're on week 11. You got to go play another playoff team. You got to go down and play the Miami Dolphins. So, Tua and company there in Miami. Not an easy game, another playoff team. Then you're at home week 12 against the Denver Broncos. an AFC West rival. Then you got to go week 13 to your AFC West Super Bowl champions, again, Kansas City Chiefs. Week 14, you play another playoff team. You're going to be taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then the season at the end gets kind of easier, I suppose. Week 15, you're playing at home against the Atlanta Falcons, winnable game. Week 16 against Jacksonville should be competitive, but it is at home. Week 17 at New Orleans can be a winnable game. And week 18, depending on what happens, you're going to be at home against the Los Angeles Chargers. But again, Jim Harbaugh, we know a couple of years ago, the playoff game with playoff implications on Sunday Night Football that ended the regular season, where the Raiders were able to end up in the playoffs by kicking a game-winning field goal against the Chargers. So, would be as exciting. That was arguably the most exciting game of that NFL season a couple of years ago, where the Raiders ended up in the playoffs and lost, of course, in the first round to the Cincinnati Bengals. Looking at the schedule again, listen, will the Raiders be improved with Gardner Minshew? We'll see. He's in a quarterback competition with Aiden O'Connell. We're going to have to wait and see what happens at the quarterback position. But is Gardner Minshew an upgrade? I think he is. I think Aiden's got some potential. Obviously, he's still, that's going to be his second year. But, can Gardner Minshew, put some points up for the Raiders and move this offense along a little bit? And with that being said, can they then get to some more victories and be more competitive? I mean, again, the Raiders were very competitive at the end of last year. Had they beat the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis, maybe they become a playoff team. As you know, they win on Christmas Day against the Kansas City Chiefs, who end up winning the Super Bowl. So it's not to say that the Raiders may not be competitive in a lot of these games, but, think of all the playoff teams I mentioned. Again, the Browns, the Steelers, Tampa Bay, of course, among others. Of course, we don't have to mention Kansas City twice. There's Miami. There's a lot of really good teams on this schedule, the Ravens. So the Raiders are going to have to really bring their A game in pretty much this entire schedule. And again, if you were looking for one guaranteed win on this schedule, it's got to be week 3, I think, at home against Carolina. So for all of you in your office football, survivor football pools, are looking for where can I use the Raiders this coming year, it would be, I think, week 3 at home against the Carolina Panthers. All in total, it's a very exciting home game schedule. You're getting Cleveland, you're getting Pittsburgh at home, obviously Kansas City. Jacksonville is a pretty good team as well, obviously. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens this year. But I think the Raiders are going to have a lot of close games this year. And, can they be a playoff team? It'd be really impressive if they were a playoff team. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I'm Krishanik for CYInterview, giving you an overview of the Las Vegas Raiders schedule, which, again, positives, they get to play the NFC South, which I believe is the weakest division in the NFC, and maybe in football. That's the positive. The challenges is that they're going to have to face a lot of playoff teams, even outside of the AFC West this year, and it's going to be very challenging, and we're going to see a lot of close games for the Raiders, potentially, I believe, decided probably by, 7 points or less. I'm Krishanik for CYInterview. Please like this video, and again, please subscribe to our channel to keep up with everything we're doing here in Las Vegas and beyond. Thank you so much.